distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, especially gentlemen of the press, I welcome you to the conference room, Ministry of the Environment and Water Resources. This morning, the top management of the ministry, in collaboration with WaterAid, has decided to invite gentlemen of the press to a media roundtable and interactive session. We will attend at this gathering to shed more light on the activities of WaterAid, what they have been able to do in Lagos State. I know they have a target of providing water, decent toilets to about 10 million people in the state. So we'll try and match figures with facts so that we know precisely where we are today. With your kind permission, let me welcome from the WaterAid team. I'll start with the state program lead, WaterAid Lagos office. It is Dr. Adebayo Alao. Please let's welcome him. We also welcome the head of policy, advocacy and communication, Mr. Kolawole Banwo. Also here is the wash manager, CHC project, WaterAid Lagos, Mr. Bankole Adebite. Well, that's fun. That's a big one. You are sharing the same name with my permanent secretary. Let's appreciate him. We also welcome the finance officer, WaterAid Lagos office, Catherine Ajaba. Let me, from the Ministry of the Environment and Water Resources, welcome some of our directors who are already seated. Let me welcome the acting HOD Water Resources, Engineer James Oyedele. You are very much welcome. Let me also welcome the Director of Admin and Human Resource, Alaja Adewale Bajulaye. You are very much welcome. We also have some of our top directors from that department too who are here. For the sake of this program, let me introduce them. We have Omobolande Magbagiola, she's the Deputy Director. You are welcome. We have the Engineer Tinubu Ineyemodupe, she's the Deputy Director. Mr. Babatunde Akinmi is also the Deputy Director in Water Resources. We also welcome Mrs. Adeoju Folashade, she's also a Deputy Director, Office of Environmental Services. As well as Mrs. Shonke Okoyemi, she's also a Deputy Director from Office of Environmental Services. Let me especially welcome the Permanent Secretary, Office of Drainage Services and Water Resources, Engineer Mahamud Olakunle Adebite. Our second Permanent Secretary is the Permanent Secretary, Office of Environmental Services. He is Dr. Gaji Omobolaji Tajukin. Our team lead for today at this event is the Special Advisor to Mr. Governor on the Environment. He is Engineer Olakunle Rotimi Akoju. Gentlemen of the press, like I said earlier, I will now respectfully yield the microphone to the Lagos State Program Lead of WaterAid, Dr. Adebayo Alao, to set the tone for this discussion. He has a presentation to make to us. So after the presentation, so cameraman, please.
We had a roundtable meeting in order to attract practitioners in the water and sanitation sector of the state. We were supposed to commence operations immediately, or could be hindered that operation Hence, we will not start until March of 2021, when we entered into a memorandum of understanding with the government through the ministry in March 2021. Let me quickly introduce WaterAid. Who are we? WaterAid is both global and in Nigeria. It's an international non-governmental organization that is focused on water, sanitation, and hygiene. It was actually set up in 1981 as a response to the United Nations International Drinking Water Decade of 1981 to 1990. The organization was first established by the UK water industry in July 1981 as a charitable trust. And they had their main office in London. And thereafter, they established 2 project countries, Zambia and Sri Lanka. In 2010, it became a federation, and we are now operating in 37 other countries of the world. On this flip side, we have WaterAid Nigeria. Clean water, decent toilet, good hygiene should be a normal part of daily life for everyone, everywhere. But for millions of people in Nigeria, they are not. And that is why WaterAid is here. Since 1995, when WaterAid came into the country, we have worked closely with partners, stakeholders, to help people break from poverty and disease, unlock their potential and change their lives for good through improved access to clean water, decent toilets, and good hygiene. Therefore, we have contributed to the development of these set goals for WaterAid in Nigeria. What is our ambition? We want to build our work from our last strategy. We always have a 5-year country strategy program. That last year's own ended in 2023, and we now have another one. It ended in 2022. We now have another strategy, 2023 to 2028. So it's our ambition to reach 10 million people directly and 17 million people indirectly through our interventions with basic wash access. Now, WaterAid has its headquarters in Abuja, and from there we have the field offices, which Lagos is one, and we have another office in Enugu, and we have another one in Bauchi State. And these 3 field offices serve as what we call comparator states. In other words, the Lagos office here will be overseeing other WaterAid activities in Southwest Nigeria. So we are already having some planned activities in Oyo State and Osun State. The same in Bauchi is dealing with Kano and Jigawa State, while Enugu is dealing with the southeastern states. That's the structure. So to achieve our goal, we align our work over the next 5 years with 2 strategic aims. And the first aim is universal, sustainable, and safe services in focused geographic areas to influence wider change. And that is why you keep hearing WaterAid, Ikorodu North, and Ojodu. These are the specific geographies of Lagos State that we have established through a process when we came in 2021. And Ikorodu North is taken as a rural LCDA, while Ojodu is a very urban. And these are the 2 geographies that we are intervening. That, however, does not limit our intervention to other areas of the state. But mostly, these are the 2 LCDAs that we focus on. The second aim is to strengthen the resilience of WASH to climate change. As we all know, the impact of climate change on our socio-economic life is very high now. So there is the need for us to begin to focus attention also on the impact of WASH. Impact of climate change. Therefore, all our WASH interventions must be climate resilient. And so that's our second objective. What's our strategy? The aim here is to reach everyone everywhere with WASH by 2030. That is less than 5 years from now. We have to focus on achieving universal, sustainable, and safe services to influence wider change. What that means is that WaterAid, of course, does not have all the resources. But the little we do, we want to use it to influence wider change, so that all our partners, the government partners, the CSO, the private sector, can take up these models and be able to scale up and replicate in other areas. So we have to influence that wider change. We are to strengthen resilience of WASH to climate change. Some of our WASH facilities that we are installing now, the infrastructure, are actually WASH resilient because we do not want them to be washed away by impact of climate change. What are the strategies? Government actively taking the lead solutions for WASH. Like we do say that we are not here to take over the work of government, but we want to partner with government in order to complement each other. There are good learnings, of course, from the government side that WaterAid can also key into, and there are good learnings from WaterAid as well that government can also key into. So we are here for to complement each other. Efficient policies, regulations, multi-sector coordination and performance in management, citizens' participation, growth in the private sector, fully harnessing the potential for WASH as business. This we are doing through various studies. What approaches do we use? Service capacity influencing. We do service delivery, just as we'll see later in the presentation. We look at gender issues, gender-based issues, as far as WASH is concerned. Partnership, we develop partnership with all other agencies as well. We do LGA-wide approach, that's why in Ikorodu North and Ojodu, we want to see that WASH is covered in those two locations. It's through system strengthening, evidence for learning, security-sensitive programming. Sometimes you will hear that WaterAid, why can't you go to this area or that area? Sometimes we have issues of security, and as a result of that, it becomes very difficult for us to even enter some places, because life is also very dear to everyone. Who are our partners? The Ministry of Environment and Water Resources, the state environmental protection agencies, regulators, urban utilities, resilience office, primary healthcare agencies, the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Education, CSO, private sector, the academia, professional groups, and community groups. They are all our partners in this group. What's our scope? Lagos, Bauchi, and the comparator states that I've mentioned earlier. Why Lagos? We are in Lagos because, number one, Lagos is a mega city and it has huge potential investment for WASH. Maximizing opportunities for growing population to boost water, sanitation, and hygiene supply chain. Like I said, when we had that roundtable meeting in 2020, the major thing that was being talked about is, number one, Lagos is a market as a result of the population. But being a market and having the population, it also means infrastructure needs to be developed so that we can maximize that potential that is inherent in Lagos. So, and as I speak now, we have about 8 donors that are currently supporting our work in Lagos. And we still have 3 more that are in the pipeline to supporting us. Before the end of this year, we are likely to have about 12 donors that will be supporting WaterAid work in Lagos, simply because of the potential that exists for WASH development. We will deepen our current work in the Ikorodu and Ojodu, and then our work in Lagos seeks to impact the WASH sector to achieve the 3 strategic objectives below. 1, to seek water solutions that will address challenges for significant change. Key focus is on sanitation services over the next 5 years, and then work in the regulator with the regulator to strengthen the oversight function and drive quality. That I'll talk about later. And above all, everything we are doing in Lagos aligns with the themes agenda of the current administration of Lagos State. So if we look at it from the point of health, from the point of the environment, point of education, social services, and economic empowerment, everything that WaterAid is doing aligns with that agenda. Again, why Lagos? Lagos State has developed this document, and they said is Lagos State Development Plan 2052. I will look at Objective 17A. It says provide clean and safe water at WHO recommended level and comprehensive sanitation services to all residents equitably and reliably. That is section 17A of that development plan. It keys directly into the objective of WaterAid. The same when we look at 17B, Develop best-in-class waste management system to consistently position Lagos State among the top 3 cleaner cities in Africa. Currently, not in top 10. Few days ago, the news filtered in that Lagos has a GDP of about $259 billion. I think we all had that news. And making it the largest, second largest economy, city economy in Africa. That tells us that there is huge potential for growth in the state and for economic empowerment. So again, what WaterAid does aligns with that strategic objective 17B. You look at this table to my left here, describes water supply. The current baseline that we have is 10 million gallons per day, but in the next 30 years, it's going to jump to 1.3 billion gallons per day. So what is the plan that we have? But now it is on 65%, and we want to reach 100%. You know, safe sanitation and hygiene is 7.5, that we still have open defecation, and then completely phased out by the year 2030 with that. Don't let me waste time much on this slide. Partnership with Lagos State. Supporting the wash policy process, which has come to life, was approved and signed by the governor of the state last year. It was celebrated during the World Water Day of last year. We are strengthening institutional agreement and collaboration through Wash Sector Coordination Platform, Lagos Water Partnership, chaired by the Office of the Honorable Commissioner. My colleague, handling that, is also here with us. Providing international visibility for sector challenges and opportunities through our support for LIWAC, which is an annual event. We are collaborating with key MDAs to attract funding for key projects. Lagos Water Corporation is a key beneficiary. LASWAPO also has been a beneficiary. Well, partnership with Lagos, I've mentioned that before, and I think I should not waste time to go on this slide again. Let's move on. What are some of the project portfolios that we have had in Lagos? There is the Kimberly Clark project, which is Sanitation and Hygiene Improvement Project, called it KC SHIP. That ended this month of March, or is ending this month of March. In fact, we did the closeout yesterday for that project. The target is 45,000 lactating women, adolescent girls, and other persons. What is the aim? To improve hygiene behaviors among vulnerable populations. The key locations are Ojodu and Ikorodu North LCDA. What did you achieve under that? 2 PHCs renovated as modern PHC with functional water supply and sanitation facilities. Medical equipment worth over 30 million procured and supplied to these 2 PHCs. 31,837 pregnant women, nursing mothers, adolescent girls, and others reached with hygiene behavior change campaigns, in addition in 16 PHCs in those 2 LCDAs. These are some of the pictures of the rehabilitated facilities. The one to my left, that's the one in Oba. The one to the right is the Odonla in Ikorodu North. This, I mentioned the rehabilitation of Akilo Water Works, which is currently ongoing. And this is the picture. This is the current state of that water scheme. By the time the rehabilitation is completed, the whole face of this will be changed. The aim of that is to reach about 100,000 people with clean water in that Akilo Oba catchment area. Water and Sanitation Hygiene Improvement Project, WASHIP. This is PepsiCo Foundation grant. That grant is worth $1 million US. We started it since 2022, and it will end by August 30, 2025. The estimated target is 173,000 women and men and children to access clean water and decent sanitation facilities. The aim: deliver interventions with institutional strengthening for improved and sustainable delivery of water services to address acute water and sanitation needs for vulnerable populations in the host communities. Of course, the locations have gone beyond Ikorodu North. We have extended to Ijebu and Igodo. This is specifically because PepsiCo requested that we should go to that side because of their one of their plants that they have in that agri. So sometimes we have donors specifically directing us where we should go because of their corporate social responsibilities to the environment where they operate. So what are the achievements there? 6 water and 4 sanitation facilities constructed, rehabilitated in 6 locations, including schools, communities, and 1 PHC. Over 40,000 people have been reached with access to safe water, sanitation, and hygiene practices. This is some of the pictures for the PepsiCo project. This one that you see, the picture to my left, is the female-friendly toilet at Agidingbe. The other picture is the trained female lamps. Lamps means local area mechanics. What happens, what we train these ones for is for them to be able to carry out maintenance, at the community level or at schools. On Wednesday, the ministry joined us where we went to inspect the community primary school at Ijebu. All the time, but the school authority had to call on the female lamp that is allocated to that area to come and do the repairs. And by Wednesday this week when we got there, that has been done, and the school management paid for that service. So that is exactly the kind of thing that we are looking for. So these women were trained, and you can see each one of them was given with the toolbox, so that it's not a matter of we don't have tools to work with. So those that we have established, they call on them and they carry out the service. Strengthening water and sanitation delivery in Lagos. We have the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This one is a grant of about 600,000 USD. It's for year 1 and year 2. Year 1 is ending this May 2024. We already have a proposal again for another 1 year, which will take us to next year. So the Latter-day Saints Church is like a standing partner with WaterAid. So every year they keep rolling their grants for us, and we've been extending that services. Target is 10,500 women and men and children. Aim is to increase access to wash in the state. The location is Ikorodu North. Key achievement: 10,000 people already reached with clean water in 6 communities through rehabilitation of 3 water facilities. 3,800 people reached. I don't want to bore us so much about these figures, but just for us to know all those that are partnering with us to deliver these services. These are some of the pictures for the CHC project. We had representatives from LASEPA, a representative from the drug laboratory, from the Ministry of Health, and LASWACO. 3 of them were taken to Abuja for the national conference. Last week, they met to say that they want to develop a framework of how monitoring and surveillance of water quality can be monitored in Lagos State. Through this project, we'll be able to support that process. The Lagos Urban Water and Sanitation Improvement Project, this is a grant from Microsoft. It's also a 1 million USD. The duration is 3 years. Now, this project is very sensitive in the sense that the actual period of construction and installation is for 3 years across the 3 communities. But they have given us leverage of 10 years for monitoring of sustainability of this project. And that's why we need to be very careful in constructing the facilities, because they want to see how we are able to sustain these facilities over a period of 10 years. That will determine whether their investment is being sustained or not, or it will also determine whether they will continue this partnership with us or not. So that's why most of the time WaterAid is always very careful where certain demands are being made. Those demands, once they contravene the agreement that we have with the donors, we tend not to dabble into such agreement because of the donors' interest that we also have to protect. But the advantage of this is that it has tied the donor to us for the next 13 years in Lagos State. So we have procured the construction for the 5 water schemes. 1 sanitation facility is already completed. Construction of 5 water schemes, 1 sanitation facility in school is already ongoing. Hygiene behavior change campaigns and other community level activities are also ongoing. We have also PUMIS. Kumis is another American-based company that is supporting our work. It's also a 3-year agreement that we have with them. The first agreement is ending August of this 2025. We are already in the process of entering the second year, which they are ready to fund. The target is 76,547 persons, women, men, and children. Aim is to increase access to water services in schools, communities. Location, Ikorodu North, Ikeja, I think this should be Orile Gomorias, Ojodu LCDAs. Achievement there, 1,010 people already reached, 465,000 people reached with hygiene promotion messages. Some of these figures you hear is also as a result of our radio jingles. That is what is helping us to reach wider people with radio messages. Some of our wash media personnel are here that help us to air these radio jingles. These are some of the facilities supported by the Kumis. This facility you see here is the junior high school, Orego, just a stone throw from part of what you see inside the hand washing station. This was commissioned about 2 weeks ago. We also have some HBC training in schools, campaigns at Oshodi Market. I think last year during the World Toilet Day, right? OES is here. We supported and partnered with OES department to carry this campaign to Oshodi Market, where a train was initiated and the campaign messages were being passed across. We already have the details or contact of the NURTW there, the Market Women Association there in that community, that we hope we can leverage on later on to continue this campaign. The issue with hygiene behavior change, which we call HBC, is not a one-time off thing. It's something that needs to be continuous, otherwise it will be lost along the line. So doing one campaign today where you have this large number of people coming out and you're passing messages to them, it's not enough until we do not less than like 10 sessions of that before we can say we have passed message across to 1,000 people. And in the other pictures you see the same hygiene campaign, hygiene behavior training that is being done at school level as well. State Partnership for Coastal Resilience Initiative. This one is ongoing, and it's basically more of study for us to have an understanding of coastal communities, and they are being impacted on the climate change. Again, in addition to this, we have another project that will be coming up very soon with Trafigura, where they want to see more of activities at coastal communities, to see how coastal communities are mitigating the negative impact of climate change, especially with flooding. So we will have more to do on this. The aim of this project is to improve the climate resilience of coastal regions of the state through advocacy and policy reforms that protect the region and promote local economic activities. Again, the locations are Ikorodu North and Ojodu LCDA. We still, these are still pictures from school-based sanitation facilities. This is exactly that facility you saw at the senior grammar school, Agidegbe. This was supported by PepsiCo. And you see the inclusiveness. Can wheel in and use the facility and come out to wash hands at the wash hand basins that have been provided there. This school is that this project is going to 3 years now, and anytime you go there, you still meet it as neat as this. So they have a very strong environmental health club member. The principal, the management of the school have been very active in making sure that these facilities are maintained. Last year, the borehole was, the borehole had issues. They called those female lamps that were trained. They could not handle it because the technology required was higher than their knowledge. So WaterAid had to engage the contractor to go and resolve the issue. But immediately that happened, they switched over to the existing borehole, which was serving as backup. So in this school, there's a backup borehole. If there is issue with the main borehole, they switch over to the one for backup, and within 48 hours, we expect that the main borehole will be rehabilitated. Again, model interventions at PHC. This is the commissioning of Ogba PHC. That's the water scheme to my left. That block was almost collapsing. Everywhere you see the sign of that break, the sign of crack on the walls, almost everywhere in that PHC. You see the tiling up to a certain level is because of rain effect, flooding that has made that place to be, eaten up by water. So we did the tiling there. That's the LCDA chairman, Honorable Odumbagu, that is doing the commissioning. Below pictures is the training, for PHC managers of operation maintenance of wash facilities in the PHC. And you see the woman and the man that is standing there, both medical officers in the PHC board. We also do HBC training at PHCs and communities. You see, the training is not just like a classroom training. We introduce some games. Some of the participants of this are here. We introduce games that makes it lively, and that the lesson learned from here goes a long way into their life, to understand that, as a result of participating at this, you had testimonies of people. In fact, there's one man, the CDC Sadenda was training them himself using the learning that obtained from here. So these are the whole essence of doing this training, so that we can also go out there to impact on others. A sister program that is called the Resilient Water Accelerator, and through that there is the path of the Lagos Water Partnership, which we are aware of. Philip here, my colleague, is the coordinator of this project. The Lagos Water Partnership was launched July 2024. RWA has successfully built relationships with key water stakeholders, government, investors, and all of that. And then this is what is happening now. It was launched. The steering committee has been formed. Technical working groups have also been formed. And there have been engagements with investors at various levels, and conducting various assessments and studies. Yesterday, 2 days ago, we interviewed the person that will help us do a survey that is going to lead to construction of those 25 public toilets across the state. So to this 250 toilets across the state through this RWA intervention. The key activity or key successes of RWA, the governor of the state has established the Lagos Water Partnership. That MOU was signed. Partners in Lagos include ARU, EY, City, Diageo, ERM, Health, and the rest of them like that. And that's the picture of the day the program was launched from WaterAid office in Lagos. I think that's the permanent secretary training services also, during the signing of that contract. So, finally, summary of our achievements since 2021. There are more than this, but I just decided to put this as what the space can permit me to put down. Wash policy for the state. We supported capacity building of Lagos State Water Regulatory Commission for effective regulation of the wash sector, including a learning visit to Wasco in Zambia in February of 2022. We have supported the technical assessment of several dysfunctional water works to support increase in urban water supply. This has led to the ongoing rehabilitation of the Akilo water works that is costing us over 800 million naira. We have supported the construction and rehabilitation of community water schemes in 17 communities in Ikorodu North and Ojodu LCDAs to the tune of over 400 million naira. We have supported the rehabilitation and construction of water and sanitation facilities in schools, PHCs in Ikorodu, Ojodu, Ijebu, Igodo, Uriagege, to the tune of over 500 million naira between 2022 and 2024. We have carried out HBC campaigns and water safety planning training in 57 communities to promote healthy living and prevention of cholera. We also distributed aquataps and other water purifying materials during these campaigns. Just before I will say thank you, I would also like to mention a few of other activities that are coming, and we are hoping that before the end of this year, those activities will also kick off. One is that currently we are undertaking technical assessment of 3 additional water works in Ikorodu, in Iwaya, and Ojokoro. The evaluation of those bids submitted is currently ongoing, and before the end of May this year, we will have carried out a very comprehensive technical assessment of these 3 schemes, and then we are hoping that we will go into procurement for their rehabilitation as well. Just as we are doing in Akilo now, that is exactly what will happen in those 3 other schemes by the time we are done with the assessment and our donors are ready to support with the financial support. Thank you very much for listening to me.
If you also have questions for our principals here, after which they will also round up by responding. Okay, LT.
Television, and I have just a few questions here. Now, I want to commend the fact that you went to Ikorodu North. I am from Ikorodu, so I'm a little bit partial when it comes to things happening in Ikorodu. But then apart from Ikorodu North, I'm sure there are other hard-to-reach communities that depend on local vendors for water supply, and they also lack sanitation facilities. So I want to know, are there plans, to address these concerns? That's one. Then 2, now we had this news that the Lagos State government signed, please correct me if I'm wrong, signed a particular MOU to privatize water supply. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I would like to know if that is the way to go, because right now people have issues with having constant water supply, and if indeed they want to privatize water supply, that's the problem. So I want you to please address that concern too. These are the 2 questions for now. Thank you.
Okay. Hello everyone. My name is Titilayo. I work for Channels TV. I would just like to add to what my colleague talked about as regards the water supply. I don't know if it will be Lagos Aid that will be responsible to that, or the Lagos State government, WaterAid or the Lagos State government. I would like to know the percentage of residents in Lagos who have access to potable water and the areas in specific. I know that the Lagos State government is working on some projects like at the water works and some others, but it's very important to also let us know what areas have access to potable water. And just like what Bukola said, if the new way to go is privatizing water supply or potable water, what should residents do in that regard? Some people go ahead to dig borehole and not know the exact level that it should be dug up onto, so that the water is not mixing with wastewater. I would like to have a clear idea of that. And then again, some areas who have access to this potable water, they still have challenges. At times, the water doesn't run for months or more than that. So let us.
For public utilities or private?
Not just school. I mean areas in Lagos. Some areas. So.
No, I mean, are you talking of public water supply?
Public water, yes. What is the reason? Why is it that sometimes the water will run and sometimes it won't run?
That I report for Radio 103.5 FM. I would like to commend WaterAid for the interventions, and I followed your work a little bit. And I want to know specifically why the choice of Ikorodu North and Ojodu LCD. I'm also from Ikorodu. I'm happy it's coming to Ikorodu, but I know there are other places too. I know there's so many interventions of WaterAid in Ikorodu, not just 1, not just 2. I can count more than 20. So why the choice of Ikorodu North and Ojodu LCD? Then 2. I know you build capacity of many of Lagos State personnel. I would like to direct this now to the Ministry of the Environment. How do you leverage on the training being done by some set of people, cascading it to other people at the grassroots? Because like Dr. Alao said, the target is to meet about 10 million Lagos residents directly and 17 million. So how do you hope that the knowledge will be cascaded down and know what I will not be here for life? Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Fabian Ekeruche. I report for the News Agency of Nigeria, and I'm also a member of the WASH Media set up by WaterAid. So I have been following most of the intervention very closely. Mine is just little comment and a question. Now, one of the philosophies behind interventions of WaterAid in Lagos is to create a model for the state that the government can replicate. And that has been effectively done to a larger extent in Ojodu LCDA, where the LCDA chairman, having seen what is on ground, has also moved beyond to begin to replicate the models that have been created. What, in terms of sustainability, what does the government have on ground to see that having created these models, that Lagos State will go back to the drawing board to see that we will now begin to do even better than what has been created by way of replication? Thank you
very much. Let me start with the first question from the caller. I think the second question is the state that will answer that. You talked about extension of services to other rural areas, especially in the Ikorodu North as well. Yes, while I will say that WaterAid has planned to extend to other rural areas of Ikorodu North, that is dependent on more donors that we have.
Sorry, I didn't say Ikorodu North, I said other areas in Lagos.
Oh, other areas in Lagos. Okay, so I guess by the time I answer the question why Ikorodu North, and then maybe it will answer your question. So, let me say why Ikorodu North and Ojodu LCDA. I've answered this question as many times as it is being asked at different fora. When we came in 2021 with our first donor project, which was Kimberly Clark, we did an advert in 2 national dailies, The Nation and The Guardian, inviting LCDAs that are interested in partnering with WaterAid for the implementation of its projects in Lagos State. That advert was there for like 2 weeks. Out of the 57 LCDAs, we received application from only 15. From these 15 that applied, the criteria for selection, which was jointly set up by the ministry here, including the Ministry of Health and Ministry of Women Affairs, was applied. Okay? One of the criteria is that access to water sanitation in your community must be almost zero. That is, you do not have access. That most of the responses came from Ikorodu North. And we had evidences because after the selection, the team still went to verify the claims. And we saw many communities in Ikorodu North that do not have access to water. Okay? And so that gave Ikorodu North the upper hand in the selection. So that is why the choice of Ikorodu North. Second, the choice of Ojodu LCDA. The same criteria were applied, but we limited the selection now to a very urban LCDA. That's where we also have the low and the middle income people that are residents. So by the time the criteria was also applied, Ojodu LCDA came top in that. That is the way of how these 2 LCDAs were selected. But you could see in my presentation, some of our projects went beyond these 2 LCDAs. And I explained that sometimes we receive direct the directive from the donors telling us specifically where we should go, because they also want to meet their own corporate social responsibility objectives. So they direct us to go there. For example, Kumis specifically said they want us to intervene at correctional centers. So we intervened at the Girls Correctional Centers in Diaraba and the Boys Correctional Center at Oregon here. So it depends on where the donors want us to go. But where donors do not specify where to go, we go to Ikorodu North and Ojodu LCDA because of our 2 objectives: universality of these two geographies. Okay? So the issue of the low water supply to certain areas and it doesn't stay for long, I think the state will answer that. Privatizing water supply, whether it is the best way to go, again, I think the state will answer that. Access to, what is the access rate to water and sanitation in Lagos? I can try a little bit. I think Akinwumi also can do that well. Okay, the state will answer that as well. So thank you very much.
Data where the need was most. I would like to follow the data as much as possible. I will just say something about privatization before the state will speak. And that is to say that, and this is where we actually expect that as partners in this sector, with the media and all, we get well informed and well educated so that we can correct narratives. It costs resources to supply quality water. And we talk about cost recovery and not profit making. You need to buy chemicals to treat, you need to pay workers who are working well so that they can earn a living and do the work well. You need to maintain pipes. You need to ensure that water quality is tested regularly. Some of the things, and so when people say you are privatizing, they forget that if they drink polluted water, they will go to hospital and spend money on drugs. Whereas if you are paying a little more, you get safe water and you are healthy. So as we go into this, and we've been engaging at all levels that you can't privatize water for profit because there's a mixture between social good, social service, but there's also the economics of water that you need resources to do it. So we talk within the policy about issues around cross subsidization. There are places where they can't afford, there are places where people can afford to pay for water as long as they are getting it. So the state looks at it and say, look, let's have a model where we can have people where they can't afford and need quality water. We get more from this area where they are okay and use the resources to subsidize so that they will not need to pay too much to get the same quality of water that goes. That requires a statewide, all-stakeholder consultation and process. So you are not going to get a private person who will just invest and start making profit. That's why we have the regulator. Okay, I'm not speaking for the government, but we have been in this and we're working in 37 countries of the world.
Your name, sir?
Kola Olipa is my name. I'm head of advocacy, yes, head of advocacy, policy, communications, WaterAid. We need to begin to change those narratives around this because I know I used to work with civil society where we march on the streets, where we say you cannot sell water for profit, which is true. But when you come and say you need resources to make sure the water continues to run consistently, somebody must pay for it. And you cannot use the money you want to use for drugs and other things, where you can have a model that works to ensure that it is equitable. So I'm not speaking for the state, but the issue around privatization, like the Aquilo we are working on now. Why did Aquilo get to where it got to? Something went wrong. So we're saying, and the people who are supporting us are saying, are you sure after spending 500 million, it will not go back? How do you prevent that? We work with Water Corporation and find out what went wrong. Are we misleading people properly? Are we collecting the right tariff? And are we collecting it consistently? Sometimes it's not that it's much, but you're not collecting it as regularly as possible. You talk about cost reflective tariffs. If this will go up and you need more power and more diesel to power water, somebody needs to pay. So if you drain the resources of the state to do that, you will not have money for that things. But again, you can now begin to profiteer and sell water the way you will sell other goods. So that balance between the social good and social service of water and the economic good where you need resources, there must be a balance. And we must protect the poor and vulnerable to make sure that nobody is taking advantage of them. I think that is the conversation we need to have, and proper informed messages must go across everywhere. For instance, you want to fix tariff, you consult with the people. That's what we talk about, the ability to pay. You engage them. What are you willing and able to pay so that this water can continue to get to you? It's not privatization for profit. It is just to ensure that you recover cost so that you can maintain the facility for the taps to keep running, for people to get water that they will not make them sick, make them miss schools, make them catch cholera, and make them die of cancer and other things. Only a well-regulated sector can do that, and it has to be state-led. And where private sector people need to be involved to have a model to ensure that that happens. If we have an honest and open conversation, I think it's something that can be achieved so that we can give people water that is safe and that is quality for them to be well. So we are not promoting privatization. No, we are saying that we need to have a conversation. to ensure that resources are
I would
there.
like
Justice deserves question, but I will still reiterate the fact that the issue of privatization that you raised, we all know what water is like. And just as someone asked what is the access rate, I will tell you that right now it's very low. However, there are programs in the pipeline as well as currently ongoing. You know, they mentioned Ikorodu and Ojodu, but our own catchment is the entire state. We are working around the, I'm sure some of you pressmen went with Mr. Governor to the ongoing Adion 2 project, which is to supply 17 million gallon water per day to Lagosians. So once that is done, we have another 50 million gallons, and then coupled with all other interventions that we have, I'm very certain that by the end of 2025, there will be a remarkable increase in access. To address the issue of privatization, I think he has done much to it, but what I will add is that is the essence of the wash policy that we have, is to open the window to other private sectors to come into that, because either you have people not willing to invest in that area because it is not what they term bankable projects. Basically, look at Water Corporation. Have they even been able to even recoup what they spend on, as I said, cost recovery? You find that the state over the years have been bailing out Water Corporation, most of those facilities. But what we are saying is we must find a way to sustainably engage. That is why we have agencies that will address issue of tariff, issue of tariff setting. We have the Lagos Water Corporation to supply, and we have the regulatory agency that will also be. In fact, there have been a lot of application for people to come in, but the regulatory commission is looking at it. That is why they are set up anyway. So, as you said, it's never for profit, but at the same time, we must know that it is not going to be free again as we move forward. We don't expect private people to start and investing to supply free. So, as I said, there are a lot of conversation that will still go on in the tariff setting. I can tell you that for us to even set tariff, we've been at it in the last 2 months with the commission not agreeing to certain things. We've been going back and forth on the right tariff to set. So as it is now, we are putting everything on board to make sure that, first of all, let us even have the infrastructure ready before you start talking about tariff. So, as I said, there will be enough water for Lagosians come by end of this year. So that is what I will say on that. He has addressed why Ikorodu not, and you know, there are studies to determine areas that lack access, both rural and peri-urban. Unfortunately, they didn't do urban, which I'm sure they will still do. So, for sustainability, what the state is going to do, as I said, the state is looking at the entire state, not really looking at and that is why we have all the mini micro. There are massive rehabilitation that is going on all our mini micro water works, as well as the major ones. So by the end of the day, before the end of this administration, at least Lagos would have gotten to minimum of 200 million gallons per day. And that is still not enough. Because the need, if you look at what the need is running to about twice that. But we are sure that it's a work in progress. It's something that we invite partners to also invest. You can imagine what they have invested, 800 million in Akilo. But the state is spending billions. What is going on currently in Adion is in billions. So we still invite other partners to invest. So what are the other ones that has not been? Then the issue of access issues. There are a lot of what I will call people deliberately cutting. For example, we have lots of unaccounted for water. In most of that is basically why the LWC even went off for some time, because you find people tapping here and there. That is also being corrected, and I'm sure that the sustainability issue that you raise is also on that pipeline. We are making sure that no stone is left unturned for the Lagosians to have access to water. So that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
You have other questions?
Yes.
So I want to commend WaterAid for their service with the state first, and for their collaboration with the ministry. But on the issue of sustainability, we must think through those plans from our issue. If we want something to be sustainable, we must, like it's done in the schools, whereby you train the girls and the people that, and you empower them with the tools to work. That is what you should be doing at every locality that you go. You must look out for people around that locality and do the needful with them. I mean, train them so that they can be the one. You don't need to call people from far away to solve those problems. And then, like Mr. Brown said, there has to be some payment. But for now, what I think that the ministry is doing is to put the people that can afford to pay will be where the PPP will be engaged first. So the other one will be subsidized. Gradually we can get to the level where they can pay something back. I mean, for cost recovery. We don't necessarily have to. Government is not a profit and loss account. But for people that are bringing in their money, there has to be some form of return on investment for them. So for where we see that there are value proposition where you can get more cost recovery on investment as a private sector, if that support it will still be regulated. You can't invest now and get money immediately. Yeah. It has to be a long-term projection. Water business is not an indomie business. It's not a turnaround 1-2 business. So you have to wait, project on the issues and work with the planning authorities too. Because what I know about water pipes or wastewater pipes and all the rest of them is that before development gets to all the place, those things are there. The infrastructures are where we should focus more too. I mean, if water can get into the infrastructure side too, I mean, attract people to come into the infrastructure side. So it's a plug and play issue. So when people build on those places, you know that you don't have to dig the ground, or you don't dig any bore, you don't dig any septic tank to cut away water. So you pay for those. And it's easier that way. So it is a long-term investment. But Lagos State, like my brother said, that it's work in progress, and you can see the enormity of funds that are committed to the water works at Adi-Otu after an advent problems that's encountered for a long time. But it is work in progress. But you can destroy something in 5 minutes, but to build it takes a while. Yeah. And they have seen the difference between civil society, how do you call it? Civil society, the other guys, and they are seeing the difference between the reality and the deliverables. And so those are the things that we must explain to us. We must let them know that this takes time. And there are other things competing for funding there are a lot of things competing for it. So you can't just face what water is like we said. So if we invest in water, and water is sensible to every nooks and cranny, then there will be reduction in health inequities. And so when you have that reduction, then you can then face some other things and invest in them. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks everyone here present. I want to appreciate WaterAid and Mr. Bao. There's a saying in the local parlance that you've been on a journey with the ministry, with government, so much that even the question to us, you are able to do justice to it. So thank you. So thank you so much. And I wouldn't want to, let's not belabor, so many of the questions are already addressed. They've been answered by the two permanent secretaries. But I just want to quickly touch on, I think, where we skipped. The question asked me seeking to know the right level for boreholes drilling. I don't know if, I think there's a question like that.
Yes.
Ordinarily, the state will not support drilling of boreholes. We are not, for so many reasons. But however, in the absence of overall supply of potable water or usable water, well, some of these things happen, and that is why the state is doing so much to see that potable water is, we're able to supply potable water to every nook and crannies of the state. But before we get there, we know boreholes are already in use. In terms of the level, it's not what we want to comment about. But Lagos is a coastal state. You have low line, topographies, and as well as some high areas. Depending on your location and the water table there, that will inform you as to what level you get the right of way. It's not something we are proud of, and it's something we are eager to run away from by providing the right of alternative, which is by Lagos Water Corporation. And as has been said, a lot is already going into that. We've gone on, working visit to this governor, the media team, both within the system and the general media. They went with us and they testified to the effort of the state, meaningful effort to see that water becomes something that is available to everyone in Lagos State. There's another question that has to do with the season of water. That water comes, intermittently and ceases. Thank you, PS. You already addressed that too as well. We have so many reasons for that. One, some of the articulations have been tampered with. People want to cut corners, people want to satisfy themselves. And you have those things tampered with. And that time, that period for which those things are tampered with, before Lagos Water Corporation team will go there to correct or make adjustment to whatever wrong that has been done there, water will be cut off temporarily. That's one of the reasons. And another one that I want to touch on. Okay. Another one is why, in terms of training, how do we intend to, the various training is done by WaterAid. How do we intend to, yes, usually when you see WaterAid and the state conducting training, it's usually a project or program of training the trainers. Those trained are in turn commissioned to go into the local government and train people in those local governments, and that will ensure that the message or the capacity we intend to ramp up or to build cascades down to the communities. So usually WaterAid are not working in isolation, and we can assure you that the ministry is providing that ambience, that safe and conducive environment for them to try to make things happen, and that's how it goes. And I think that those are the things I noticed that we have lost in terms of training the trainers and getting the messages cascaded down to the communities. So I'd like to stop there. Thank you.
Láti máa ṣe àṣepọ̀ lórí ètò ìpèlò omi fún àwọn ará ìlú. Nǹkan tó ń àǹsọ látàárọ̀ ni pé ibi tá a bá rí pé wọ́n lè sanwó lẹ́sẹ̀kẹsẹ̀ à á ṣe àgbéṣepọ̀ yẹn àjọṣepọ̀ pẹ̀lú ẹni tó lè kówó lẹ̀ láti tún ẹ̀rọ omi yẹn ṣe. Bọ̀tí ibi tí a bá rí pé wọ́n lè bí àwọn Ìkòròdú àwọn ìgbèríko gbogbo ìgbèríko tá a rí pé wọ́n lè apá wọn ò ka owó sísan yẹn à á lọ wá máṣemáṣe tó dà nítorí pé a fẹ́ kí àrùn àjẹkálẹ̀ àrùn kó fẹjú síbẹ̀ kó jẹ́ kí àwọn tí ó gbé bẹ̀ kọ́ má kí ara lè yá kí wọ́n lè ní kí wọ́n lè kára wọ́n lè yá wọ́n lè máa gbé ìgbé sí ayé dáadáa nítorí ẹ̀ ni a ṣe ṣe irú nǹkan bẹ́ẹ̀.
ṣe lọ́pọ̀ ṣe ọ̀rọ̀ omi a ti sọ pé omi jẹ́ nǹkan pàtàkì fún gbogbo aráàlú. Ìjọba ń ṣe ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ akitiyan láti rí pé omi kálé ó ká oko. Nǹkan tí à ń sọ látàárọ̀ ni pé gẹ́gẹ́ bí ìbéèrè tó dé, ìjọba ò ní pé àwọn fẹ́ gbé fún iṣẹ́ omi fún iṣẹ́ aládàáni. Nǹkan tá à ń ṣe nísìnyí, à ń tún gbogbo ilé ẹ̀rọ omi wa ṣe láti rí pé a fi nǹkan a jẹ́ kí omi dé gbogbo àyíká wa. Nǹkan tá à ń tún sọ ní pé omi tẹ́lẹ̀tẹ́lẹ̀ ọ̀fẹ́ lomi ni a máa ń rí, àmọ́ nísìnyí a ti rí pé owó ni wọ́n fi ṣe gbogbo àwọn kìíní. A ti rí owó tọ̀tẹ̀ máa fi tún gbogbo nǹkan tó ń ṣe òun là ń sọ lọ́wọ́. So lágbára Ọlọ́run omi máa dé gbogbo àyíká wa, àti pé a máa wá sọ iye tí oníkálukú máa san tó bá ti yá. Àmọ́ nísìnyí wọ́n tún gbogbo ẹ̀ ṣe lọ́wọ́ ni. Ìtorí ẹ̀ a ti dá ètò oríṣiríṣi sílẹ̀ láti rí pé wọ́n mójútó bí omi ṣe máa dé gbogbo òru.
Ẹ ṣe kọ́ ni láfikún nǹkan tí àwọn akọ̀wé àgbà iléeṣẹ́ wa èyí tí wọ́n ti tó wa létí lẹ́sìn ìbẹ̀rù pé ọ̀rọ̀ ètò omi ó máa lọ sọ́wọ́ àwọn aládàáni máa fẹ́ rọ̀ wá pé ká gbé kúrò lọ́kàn. Gbogbo ìgbìyànjú àti akitiyan ìjọba kò ní kárí pé ọ̀rọ̀ ìṣòro omi ó di ohun àfisẹ́yìn tí ebi ń fi bí ó ti ń fi aṣọ. Nǹkan tó wà nílẹ̀ yìí ọ̀rọ̀ gbé kémi gbé kájọ gbé ni ó wà nílẹ̀. Bíjọba ti máa lọ́wọ́ sí àwọn olùrànlọ́wọ́ láti ìta náà wọ́n á gbìyànjú láti ran ìjọba lọ́wọ́ lórí ẹ̀. Ṣùgbọ́n ìtúnṣe kókó jù bẹ́ẹ̀ ni pé ẹ jẹ́ ká ní lọ́kàn pé ọ̀rọ̀ omi tá a bá fẹ́ kó máa lọ tààrà àti pé ká ṣe fẹ́ sí ẹ yẹ ká lọ́kàn pé a máa sanwó díẹ̀díẹ̀ fún ẹ yẹ ká gbé kúrò lọ́kàn pé ó láti ṣe ọ̀fẹ́ ní tàti ìjọba. Ẹ má yẹ ká gbàgbé pé ìlú Èkó ojoojúmọ́ ló ń gbòòrò sí, ojoojúmọ́ lálejò ń wọbẹ̀. Ètò ọ̀rọ̀ omi tẹ bá ṣe fún yàn mẹ́wàá lẹ́yìn tẹ bá máa fi ṣẹ́jú ní ojú kan yẹn náà wọ́n ti dèèyàn 100. So ìnira àti ìṣòro yẹn kò ṣe é pé fún ìjọba nìkan àti kájọ pawọ́pọ̀ kájọ gbé àti pé pàpàjọ lágbára Ọlọ́run àti àtìlẹ́yìn gbogbo àwọn adájókòó sí yàrá yìí à ń polongo ọ̀rọ̀ yìí àti ètò yìí á délé àdókò fún gbogbo àwọn èèyàn wa wọ́n lè ní lọ́kàn pé nígbà tíjọba bá sọ pé ó yá ọ̀rọ̀ omi wọ́n ti yanjú ẹ̀ ká ní lọ́kàn láti fi owó díẹ̀ sí láti fi máa rà ẹ bá wò àwọn ta ló ń bá dókòwò ọ̀rọ̀ omi àwọn bí amálà àbókí kọ̀ọ̀kan tó ń ti omi yẹn ẹni pé tẹ bá ń ṣírò iye tẹ fi ń ra omi bóyá kẹ́gì kan ni lójúmọ́ iye kẹ́gì tẹ bá rà kẹ wá ṣírò ẹ̀ lójúmọ́ kẹ wá pa iye ẹ̀kọ́ ní oṣù ẹni pé kẹ wá fi wé iye tíjọba ní kẹ wá san ẹni pé ó kúkú pé láti bájọba dówò ju láti máa dárìn lọ ibi ni màá fẹ́ fi ọ̀rọ̀
Thank you very much. Is empowered by law. So if we have questions, we want to drill borehole or whatever, all such questions are better directed to them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Bertram. I write for the Guardian newspaper. So the first question, sir, is directed to WaterAid. I just want to know, sir, from the time of your intervention till now, I just want to know how much has been expended in your intervention, your program. And then, second, now to the ministry. I also want to know, sir, you've talked about the privatization policy you are coming about. I just want to get the time frame. When are you looking at to start it? When is the start? Since the private. You are not, but it was been discussed that it's going to be the way forward. So I didn't say that. Okay, because I felt that when our guy spoke, he said they are working on it, the tariff and all this. So I just want to know when all this is going to be.
The tariff setting is not privatization.
Okay.
We are saying that.
Do you have a time frame when all these things will have come up? The tariff setting will have come up.
As I said, we are focusing right now on ensuring that the infrastructure, all the and listen, you have to see water before you know whether you are paying or not.
Okay. Thank you. Then the last one, sir, is
just an addendum to what my colleague has asked. I would like to know what budget you have in the next 5 years to provide quality water in Lagos State. That's just my question. The next 5 years.
Thank you. My name is Michael Sineri, right, for environment. I want to know something of the government. Why is it that certain areas in Igbo are selectively served by some minimum water works in that particular area? Not some areas are piped and some areas are left behind. Why is it so? Thank you.
Sir, so when those water works were built, the reticulation done were for the existing infrastructure that were there. So if you look at the number of years that those the water works have been provided, maybe like 2007, and if you look at it till date, you see the number of houses that are spring up in the. You can see the difference between sometimes like last year, I think October, you see, we went out there, did advocacy, and spoke with a lot of people. And there's a petrol station that even volunteer that is got 5 toilets that if people want to use it, it's free of charge. But still, people still jump on that road, but they get arrested. And when you get arrested, whatever you see, it's your fault. It's not the government that will ask you to come and. But if you don't have the place, you must ask that where is the toilet that can. In the garage there's a toilet there. There's about 2 toilets that are free. They are not free paying toilets. But what we are doing now is to first of all construct the toilet. Then there will be changing the kind of punitive measures that are going to be meted out to a lot of people when we are caught doing all those things. your community service might involve you being the one that washes toilets for a year. Not just 2 months. Please, but we're in the process of constructing toilets now. We have about 25 different areas that we're going to construct now. But because of the issue of water and the septic tank, and because of SDG, sustainability issues, that's why it's been delayed till now. Thank you.
I think on the issue of open defecation is three-pronged approach. We are providing infrastructure, we are doing advocacy/education, as well as the last option, which is enforcement. Just as we mentioned, Becker area is a demonstration area. We have provided about 12 rooms of toilets, as well as another individual, that is the filling station. By the way, all filling stations are supposed to provide free toilet, but we have 5 rooms. So it still beats my imagination why when you have free facility that you will go, either they used to charge, I think it was 10 naira, but we made it free now. But I still don't see why people will still prefer to do open. So that's why I said it's going to be in 3 approaches. Provision of the infrastructure, which is aggressively being impacted. You just mentioned about 250, we are matching it up with additional 100. So across the states, you have minimum of 350 toilets, minimum. Then, if you have that, we have education facilities which we are going to start from the primary schools. We have health clubs and all that. So, if those 2 environmental-based clubs and all other things that we have in the schools, so if those 2 are rigorously pursued, I think the next line of action should be the enforcement, which will make sure, just as you mentioned, that people will be made to do certain activities. So that's what.
Thank you very much.
Budget is concerned, we do not have a budget. We carry out our activities based on grants that we received from donors. So each donor has his own budget for it. So we cannot tell you precisely for the next 5 years, these are the projects we're going to have. We have some projects in pipeline, all right, that but until they mature, we cannot tell you that this is how much it is. Thank you.
I'm sure that has answered your question. Thank you very much. Other protocols to be extended on behalf of Lagos State government, particularly the Secretary of the Environment and Water Resources. We want to appreciate the collaboration effort of WaterAid and the contribution so far that have been put into the state. And we also want to appreciate the opportunity given today to interact with the press and be able to enumerate some of the activities of the government, good things that are causing delay from this administration. Once again, thank you for calling. Thank you very much. Once again, we appreciate our gentlemen of the press, and we know that, as we have always done, we give the contents of this program the desired mileages. Thank you very much.